Welcome to Virtual Campfire. We're going to sing Humble Thyself in the Sight of the Lord. Humble thyself in the sight of the Lord. Humble thyself in the sight of the Lord. For he shall lift you up higher and higher. For he shall lift you up. Our God is an awesome God. He reigns from heaven above with wisdom, power, and love. Our God is an awesome God. Kneel and pray in the sight of the Lord. Kneel and pray in the sight of the Lord. For he shall lift you up higher and higher. For he shall lift you up. Hello? Look, I miss you. I wish you'd come over to my house the way you used to.
I'm right here. I'm right here.
Remember the days when we hung out together every day? Nobody was as good friends as we were. Everyone else wished they were me because we were so close.
I've been trying to get your attention. Why are you ignoring me?
But now you won't talk to me. Well, if you don't want to talk to me, then I don't want to be friends with you either.
You've been doing exactly what I don't like. In fact, you've been running around doing things that make me mad on purpose.
I'm lonely and it's your fault. You started it.
Of course I'm mad at you. You've ignored me and been cruel to my other friends. But I've never forgotten you. How could I?
We're still friends, aren't we? Even after everything?
You need to choose whether or not you are my friend. Make up your mind. I want you back.
Stop being mad and come back. Let's be a team again. Don't keep punishing me with the silent treatment.
I'm about to do something amazingly good. If you are my friend, I'm about to wipe away all your sufferings and give you a safe home to live in, and healthy communities. You'll live a long time with no fear of dying, and nothing, not even as big as a bear or as small as a virus.
I'm waiting. Do you hear me?
I'm right here. Do you hear me?
Thank you, Treble and Shorts, for helping me through this skit. What they just acted out was a dramatized, modernized version of Isaiah 64 and 65. Those chapters are a beautiful example of counterpoint, which is when two voices tell a story from two different perspectives. I encourage you to read these chapters yourself or ask a relative to read them to you. In Isaiah 64 and 65, we have two voices. The first voice is that of the Israelite leaders crying out to God. A neighboring empire had taken over the country, dragged the leaders out of their homes, burned down the city, and taken the people to another land where they had to work for the people who had conquered them. This was a painful, difficult experience. They were suffering. The things they used to do every day, they weren't allowed to do anymore. And they weren't in charge of their own lives. Their whole world had changed completely, and this hurt so much that some people blamed God. It was easier to be angry at God than or to seek revenge on the empire that had conquered them, than to acknowledge that they had made some bad decisions. They and their parents and their grandparents and their great-grandparents had made decisions that cheated the poor and vulnerable. They'd set up systems and rules and practices that made them, which was a very, very small percentage of the population, very rich, by making everyone else very poor. And now the world had turned upside down, and it felt like God was far away and hiding. So this voice, all these leaders of the country taken captive, are crying out to God. They are looking as hard as they can for God, but they're having trouble listening to God. And the second voice in these chapters is God. God is jumping up and down, waving wild hands, trying to get their attention. Here I am. Here I am, says God. I've been reaching out to you all this time, and you haven't been listening. Of course, I was angry at the things you've done that have exploited other people. I care for the poor. But listen to me. I love you. I have never stopped loving you. I'm right here. Turn around. Plug your ears to the voices that urge you to exploit other people or blame them or act violently. Listen to me instead, and I will bless you. Sometimes we ask God for the wrong things. It can feel like the only way we can win is if everybody else loses. And sometimes we don't see God at work. We think that God is far away and can't hear us. Sometimes it feels like God has put his hands over his ears. You know that scene, one of my favorite scenes in The Emperor's New Groove, when Cusco puts his llama hooves over his llama ears, he sings, la 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 la, still not listening. But God doesn't abandon us. God is right here, reaching out to you. God loves you. No matter how far away you feel you are from God, God is right beside you, holding out a hand and listening to you, and talking to you as well. Do you hear God speaking? This is a repeat after me prayer.
This is a repeat after me prayer.
Loving God,
Loving God,
you are faithful and patient.
you are faithful and patient.
You love us even when we act like you aren't here.
You love us even when we are like you are not here.
And even when we make mistakes
And even when we make mistakes
or hurt other people.
or hurt other people.
Thank you that you hear us.
Thank you that you hear us.
And thank you that you speak to us.
And thank you that you speak to us.
Help us to listen to you
Help us to listen to you
and to love our neighbors
and to love our neighbors
and to love you better each day.
and to love you better each day.
In Jesus' name,
In Jesus' name,
amen.
amen.
Thank you, Thistle. And we're gonna sing our goodnight song. So you can put your arms around anyone you're watching with at home. And we're gonna sing, good night, my friends. Well, it's time to go. Ba-dum, ba-dum. Good night, my friends. Well, it's time to go. Ba-dum, ba-dum. I hate to leave you, but I really must say, good night, my friends. Good night. Good night, my friends. Well, it's time to go. Good night, my friends. Well, it's time to go. I hate to leave you, but I really must say, good night, my friends. Good night. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.